If we are in theory at the cusp of a new super cycle in commodities, which I think there are several signs that are pointing towards, then we could actually see both industrial and precious metals do well in 2021 and beyond that. I remember the early 2000s. I was working for a hedge fund in London, and we was just the beginning of the super cycle that started with Chinese demand just gulping up anything remotely resembling a commodity. It seems like we're into the same situation as we move into 2021. Very strong demand from China has been seen so far this year. And now we're starting to see the dollar weakness as well, which is motoring the whole sector higher. And I think adding to that, we're seeing the way that the reflation trade is ebbing and flowing, but just today we're seeing break-evens in 10 years tenor at a new 17 months high. We're seeing real yields well below negative 1%. So I think they can go in tandem, and it is a combination of the weaker dollar, stimulus coming now, which may potentially overstimulate the economy later in the year, thereby continue to raise the prospect for inflation.
We have this saying, and I'm sure you recognise it: if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And this is my question to you with regard to the spike in prices we're getting on commodities, because I agree it looks like a return of the super cycle. But could it not also be that we just have relatively small markets, commodity markets, that are being driven higher by this excess liquidity thrown out through monetary and fiscal easing strategies from governments and central banks here, that ultimately this is a liquidity squeeze, a buy everything market, but not ultimately one that is fundamentally anchored in a new cycle?
Well, you're absolutely right that it is an everything rally right now, and again, we should not sit here just before Christmas trying to make predictions for how January will turn out, because this time of year is a time of window dressing. Markets where there is momentum is being supported ahead of this important mark-to-market date at the end of December. So we need to get into the new year, and it's obviously not going to be a straight line. But I think we are seeing some emerging supply deficits in some of these key commodities. Obviously, the oil market still needs to get out of its spare capacity, with OPEC adding barrels back into the market next year. But it potentially could be a story in 22 or 23 with the lack of capex that we've seen gone into the market this year. In the mining area, we're seeing starting to see reports about deficits in something like copper, and obviously copper is a huge part of this green transformation. Adding to that, silver as well. It was one of our outrageous predictions, as you will probably recall recently, that we could see a major spike there, driven partly by the continued demand from the green transformation. But overall, not all commodities are obviously going to rise. But we're just seeing this tandem move right now across the sectors. The agricultural space has been strong due to weather worries, very strong demand from China, industrial metals on the move, and now the oil market, energy market has stabilized and looks set to move higher next year.